The government of Ogun State, under the amiable leadership of Senator Ibikunle Amosun from inception, has been championing the advancement of womenfolk in the state. This is in line with the firm belief of Governor Ibikunle Amosun that women are partners in progress and, as such, should be given the opportunity to prove their worth in the running of the affairs of the state, as well as be empowered to contribute to the socio-economic advancement of their homes and the nation at large. The first pointer to this noble gesture of the governor in his efforts to carry women along is in the number of women who are holding important offices in his cabinet. No doubt other women in the state have seen every reason to be identified with this administration. Through the State Ministry of Women Affairs, several women have been empowered with necessary training, working tools, as well as soft loans to either start their own business or boost existing ones. International Women's Day is one of the annual events celebrated all over the world on the 8th of March. Ogun State is not left out in this celebration, as the government of Senator Ibikunle Amosun always deems it fit to celebrate womanhood on this auspicious day. For the government, it has always been an avenue to reach out to other women in the state. The 2012 International Women's Day, the first to be observed by this administration, was celebrated amidst fanfare and happiness, as women who benefited from the Uplift Foundation program of the wife of the governor of Ogun State, Mrs. Olufunsho Amosun, have every reason to thank her and the government for supporting them. The 2013 event was even more enriching and supportive, as more private organizations and companies were on hand to partner with the Uplift Development Foundation of Mrs. Amosun to distribute various items to the people and make them self-reliant in order to boost their respective businesses. The year 2014 again brought together women from all the 20 local government areas of the state in their various groups to appreciate and identify with the importance the administration of Senator Ibikunle Amosun has attached to the women of Ogun State, as they all took time to register their attendance at the venue. This year's International Women's Day had as its theme, Inspiring Change by Empowering and Supporting Women Living with HIV and AIDS. It took place at the MKO Abiola Stadium, Abeokuta. The program, which is in line with the objectives of the pet program of the wife of the governor, Mrs. Olufunsho Amosun's Uplift Development Foundation, is aimed at uplifting women living with HIV and AIDS. While speaking on HIV and AIDS at the occasion, Governor Ibikunle Amosun noted that statistics have shown that a large number of infants living with HIV and AIDS are from Nigeria. He therefore stated what needed to be done.
Today is a special day that has been set aside. We've been told that almost a quarter of all of the newborn babies worldwide are from Nigeria. That is not good enough for us. But we have taken what has happened, those data, those indices, those numbers. But what we can do is to make sure that even those ones that have all these HIV/AIDS, we are protecting them, we are prolonging their life, we are making sure that despite having tested positive to HIV/AIDS, they can still live like you and I.
The governor emphasized the fact that everyone was affected, if not infected. Thus, it is a challenge that requires the joint efforts of everyone.
It does not matter if we do not have it directly. Somebody that we know, definitely, they live within us, they live within the state, within our local government, within our community, then they are our own. We must not discriminate against them. That is the message. Today is an important day, and that is why we decided to pass this message across to everybody, not just women, but men alike.
Governor Ibikunle Amosu further urged all to fight against the causes of HIV and AIDS and not to discriminate against people living with the virus, but instead give them support.
Today is an important day, and that is why we decided to pass this message across to everybody, not just women, but men alike, to know that anybody that is infected with HIV/AIDS does not need to be stigmatized. We do not need to cast them aside. We do not need to run away from them. So today, we are sending that signal. We are sending that information to people to say that we should embrace them, we should assist them, and the drug can cure this. The drug that will continue, that will allow them to continue to live. Those drugs are free.
While emphasizing the important roles women play, not only at the home front but also in nation building, the governor pledged his administration's commitment to continue to support women. Before ending his speech, Governor Amosu expressed his gratitude to donor agencies and emphasized the need for people living with HIV and AIDS to note that antiretroviral drugs are free. They should therefore try as much as they can to go for regular checkups, especially pregnant women living with HIV and AIDS. After the speech, the governor supervised the balloting for beneficiaries to take from baskets that were taken around.
What about the people joining them? Bring the basket to this other side again.
Earlier on, the wife of the governor, Mrs. Olufunso Amosu, noted that HIV and AIDS is taking a dangerous dimension in Nigeria. This trend, she said, has made everybody vulnerable. And this is why the choice to help people living with HIV and AIDS has become of great concern for a better society. Speaking passionately, the wife of the governor observed that Nigeria carries the second heaviest burden of HIV and AIDS in Africa. This, she said, calls for immediate and serious attention, and that change is the answer.
The change we want to inspire in Ogun State today is to create awareness that you should check yourself and make sure you know your status. You should show love to people suffering with the virus. You should not stigmatize people suffering from the virus. You should not discriminate against people suffering from the virus.
According to Mrs. Amosu, her Uplift Development Foundation has put in place some measures to ensure that women living with the virus can smile.
Today, to show and identify how much we care and love our fellow citizens in Ogun State who are living with this virus, 300 of these citizens will be empowered here today.
Reiterating the alarming rate of mother-to-child transmission of the virus, which has become a source of great concern, Mrs. Amosu had these parting words for all in Ogun State.
What I want all of us to go home with today is, if you are not infected, don't believe you're not affected. It is important to know your status. When you know how to take care of yourself. We do not want stigmatization for our fellow citizens that are living with this virus. And that is the change that we in Ogun State are inspiring on this International Women's Day.
Also speaking, the State Commissioner for Women Affairs, Mrs. Elizabeth Shonubi, commended the state governor for the opportunities being given to women in the state, with the promise that women in the state will not disappoint this administration, but rather add value to the mission to rebuild program of the government. Mrs. Shonubi also commended the wife of the governor for all her respective developmental initiatives for women in the state. She spoke at length on the importance of empowering women.
You know that when you talk of women empowerment, definitely when women are being empowered economically, politically, we'll be able to take active participation in decisions that affect our life. And economically, when we're empowered, we know we'll be self-reliant, we'll be able to put food on table for our family.
In collaboration with many private organizations and donor agencies, Mrs. Amosu made available different items such as deep freezers, grinding machines, business stands, generators, sewing machines, as well as many others for the empowerment of women living with HIV and AIDS. After the balloting, the empowerment items were distributed to the women. At the occasion, free HIV tests were also made available to those interested to allow them know their status. Another highlight of the occasion was the flagging off of the Treated Mosquito Net campaign, spearheaded by Mrs. Amosu.
Our paramount ruler, His Royal Majesty, Oba Olu of Ilaro, who is actually Ogun State Ambassador for the malaria nets in Ogun State.
She said the federal government, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and the Society for Family Health, who is the principal recipient of the Global Fund in charge of making the nets available, working with other rollback malaria agencies and other donors, acquired mosquito nets to be distributed to families across the state. While flagging off the distribution of the treated mosquito nets, the Olu of Ilaro and paramount ruler of Yoa land, Oba Kende Olugbenle, thanked the government, the wife of the governor, and the donor agencies for providing the nets for the people of Ogun State.
Society for Family Health, we want to appreciate you for partnering with the federal government and the state government to ensure that malaria is kicked out of Ogun State. We keep on praying for you. The Almighty God will reward you for all your efforts, both on HIV eradication and malaria kick out of Nigeria. So on that note, Our Excellency will be helping us to cut the tape to flag off the long-lasting intestinal net in Ogun State.
The Kabiyesi emphasized the importance of the treated mosquito nets, which was brought for the people of Ogun State through the collaboration of the federal government and the Society for Family Health. There was a demonstration of how to mount and use the nets.
Àwọn tá ń lo mattress a lè lò kì í ṣalákọ̀wé nìkan ló wà fún o. Ẹ̀fọn ò ní rí gbígbà wọ inú abẹ́ àwọn apẹ̀fọn yẹn. Eléyìí ṣe pàtàkì púpọ̀ kárí pé kò sí ibi tí ẹ̀fọn lè gbà wọlé.
In their various goodwill messages, the donor agencies and other stakeholders commended the state government for their commitment in the fight against malaria through the distribution of the treated mosquito nets and the concern shown to people living with HIV and AIDS.
For Ogun State, we have earmarked about 2.6 million LLINs to be distributed, one net per house, 2 nets per household across the whole local governments of Ogun State. And I want to appreciate the support of the Ogun State government in enabling us to do this function and this distribution. Over some weeks, they have been very helpful for us to put all the mechanisms in place for this to be successful.
Let me use this opportunity to also say that in 2009, the Society for Family Health distributed 1.8 million nets also to households in Ogun State. So what we are doing this year is a replacement of those nets which have outlived their useful life. We want again to thank the women of Ogun State for coming out in mass. We enjoin you to be part of this event, which starts effectively from the 15th to the 20th of March 2014. We will be issuing out coupons that households will present and receive their nets.
She's particularly happy that this year's early line distribution coincides with the International Women's Day, and all our programs in summer, although we cover the whole populace, that we have special attention for women, and particularly for women living with HIV/AIDS.
The Commissioner for Health, Ogun State, Dr. Ogun Shoyinka, gave the women a take-home message.
The message is very simple. Anybody living with the virus needs love and affection, not stigma and discrimination. Please remember that here as we mingle with all these valiant women who are living positively. We must give them love and not discrimination. The second message is about malaria. Malaria is a big killer. It particularly affects women and children, which is why today we have given out long-lasting insecticide nets, and the First Lady is going to help us launch the long-lasting insecticidal net distribution program.
The nets were later distributed to all present. The beneficiaries of the different empowerment items at the 2014 International Women's Day celebration